Welcome to Van and Linda's Alaska Motorhome Adventures of 2004 and 2005. We begin at our hotel in Homer. These are pictures off the back deck looking at the ocean. The following majestic views are of Ketchimek Bay with the mountains in the background. One of the reasons the views from the road are so great is that most of the tall spruce trees have been killed by the spruce beetle and have been removed from the hillside, opening up grand vistas of the bay. The next few slides are of Linda and Van on the beach behind the hotel in Homer. As you can see, there is a wide selection of driftwood along the beach. Also, there are unique stones that are of interest as well. The next series of slides are from aboard the boat Cadillac. That is a halibut charter out of Homer. The location is about 20 miles south of Homer in Ketchimek Bay, and the weather was choppy and overcast and rainy. We did catch fish. We limited out on the halibut. Most of them were small, as the slides will show, with the exception of one large halibut that our good friend David Timison caught. That particular halibut weighed in at approximately 110 pounds. The slides show how a fish that large is taken into the boat and subdued. All in all, we caught 212 pounds of halibut, and Linda and I had a share of that catch. The next slides show the brutal part of the fishing, and that is the actual bludgeoning of the halibut so that it doesn't cause damage to the boat or hurt any of the occupants aboard the boat. These pictures might be a little bit distasteful to some. Here is David Timison, our good friend, holding up his 110-pound halibut. As you can see, it's a pretty nice fish. Actually, this is a very medium-sized halibut. The large ones get above 200 pounds. After a delightful 3 days in Homer, we headed north to Anchorage and picked up a 25-foot motorhome that would serve as our hotel room for the next 9 days. These series of slides show Mount McKinley and then the Savage campgrounds at Denali National Park. These slides are of Linda walking along the stream in Savage Campground. This is an attempt to get a picture of Mount McKinley. Most of the time it is cloaked in cloud cover, and only about 1/3 of the days during the summer is the mountain actually visible. The next slides are pictures we took on our way to Fairbanks. Here is a picture overlooking the area right outside of Fairbanks, about 20 miles. This is the motorhome that we had for the trip in 2005. We're taken along the Richardson Highway going south out of Fairbanks towards our next destination, which was Fielding Lake. Here are some shots of Linda looking very good. We're about 2 hours away from Fielding Lake at this point. The elevation is about 2,000 feet. Here are a few shots of myself along the route. You can see I'm well fed. We eat well when we're on vacation, and so this is a very nice trip so far. Here is a plaque, I believe, talking about a buffalo herd that migrates across the plains, and at some times of the year they are visible from this particular view turnoff from the highway. We're now about an hour and a half outside of Fielding Lake. Here's another good shot of Linda with the mountain in the background. We haven't got to Fielding Lake yet, but are getting closer. Finally, we have arrived at Fielding Lake. There are quite a number of slides showing this designation because Linda and I at one time owned 5 acres across the lake right on the water. And one of the lots that we show in the slides is the lot we used to own, and we sold it and are sorry we did, because this place is very special, and I think you'll enjoy the next 30 or 40 slides. This slide shows the creek coming out of the lake, and you can see that there's large chunks of ice that are flowing down, and they are crunching against each other and making very loud, eerie sounds as the ice grinds its way down out of the lake. The lake is still about 3/4 ice, but it is all broken up and it's starting to flow down. It's more of a river than a creek. The next few slides are a panorama of the mountain that surrounds the west side of the Fielding Lake, and a few shots of the campground. Here is a picture of where we parked for the night with our motorhome. The weather is kind of seriously overcast and it's dark. The altitude at this point is about 2,970 feet. It is alpine meadows. There are no trees, just bushes, and it's very hostile environment. As you can see, the date is about June 1st here, and the lake is just breaking up, and it was a warm winter. In some cases the ice doesn't break up on this lake until mid-June. Here are a number of pictures of the cabins across the lake. Some of the pictures are taken with telephoto lens. It's about a mile away from across the lake to these cabins, and about the 5th or 6th set of houses from the left is where we used to own the 5-acre piece of ground. Here's a picture of the house that we believe is on our property. We continue our view of the far side of the lake with the houses and cottages. You can see what a magnificent place this is. When the sun shines, the mountains are polychromatic and the colors are wonderful. In the wintertime, this is a snowmobiling paradise. The snow cover is substantial, about 10 feet deep at least, and they have about a half hour from here the what Summit Lake area has the Ironman snowmobile races and festival in the middle of the winter, which is quite an event here. The lake itself is a sandy bottom, crystal clear lake that you can see to the bottom of the lake at all the locations. The lake is about a mile and a half long and about a half a mile wide at this particular location. It has rainbow trout in it, and Dolly Varden and a number of other local species of fish. In the summertime, the people who live in the cabins do considerable amount of fishing in this lake. Here's some more shots of the campground and the other side of the lake and to the south. Here is the cabin that's on our 5 acres, and it looks like a very nice little cabin, and we're very happy for the dentist who purchased it from us. Here are some final shots of Fielding Lake as we get ready to depart on our way to Valdez. These shots are of famous waterfalls as you're coming into Valdez, going through the Keystone Valley. One is called Bridal Falls, which I think is what this one is. This is a shot of Thompson Pass, which is the high point before you head down the steep road into Valdez. There's a campground called Blueberry Lake Campground that we normally stay at, but today we decided to drive into Valdez and not stay here. We would have been the only vehicle here. June 1st is early in the season, and you can see the snow on the mountains. It's a magnificent place. Here we have a number of shots of one of the many glaciers that are accessible by road. This glacier has been receding dramatically through the last years. Linda and I were at this glacier about 13 or 14 years ago, and it has retreated probably 300 yards since then. This is a magpie at the glacier visitor center that seemed to be following us around, and so I took a few shots of it. These are shots heading on the Glen Highway towards Matanuska Valley. We didn't stay very long in Valdez. Linda wasn't feeling real well there, and we'd been there before, so we just stayed one night in Valdez and did not take any photos, I don't think, of Valdez proper. But so now we're on our way into Matanuska Valley on the Glen Highway. I believe this slide is while we are in Bird Creek Campground outside of Anchorage, and where Linda is not real happy with the campground. The next few slides are of some bears that visit our backyard on a regular basis. We first saw these bears when they were 2-year-olds with their mother, and now they're 4-year-old bears, and they are getting large. I guess I can't make a travel log without showing Linda's gardens at our house, so enjoy the following slides. Linda has created a number of island gardens that are mounds of dirt that we placed on the gravel pad that are quite unique, and they have turned out to be very practical and very beautiful, and they match the setting of our house, and they also match the view when you look off the deck. It is time to return to our travel adventure. The following slides are from May of 2004, where Linda is at the Seward Marine Aquarium. The Seward Aquarium was built using the Valdez oil spill monies, and it is a research center connected with the University of Alaska, and it is a wonderful facility. It has a dual purpose to educate people about the marine environment, and then also for the university professors and the students to study the marine environment that is so fragile here in Alaska. While we stayed in Seward, we parked our motorhome at the city-owned RV park that is right on the ocean, and I was able to take shots of various marine animals, and in this case sea otters that were swimming right out in front of our motorhome. I had to use the telephoto lens so they aren't sharp and crisp, and that's because these animals were 200 yards away. But nevertheless, I think I did get some good shots. Here is some slides of Linda and myself at the Alaska Sea Life Marine Center here in Seward. And a few more slides of the sea otter that swam in front of our motorhome all day long, the whole 3 days we were there. Here are some slides of myself and of Linda out in front of where our motorhome is parked. And more otters. Here are shots of the motorhome and where we were parked in Seward. It's pretty neat. The city owns the RV park. It's clean and beautiful and just a pleasure. You're close enough to the town to walk to restaurants and what have you. It's very nice. This is Linda at Briar Lake on the way to Denali, Mount McKinley, and this is in late May of 2004. In these slides we are at Mount McKinley at Savage Campground, and we were looking out our window while we were eating breakfast and we saw this rabbit. A few minutes after seeing the rabbit, we saw the fox, and these are some fairly dramatic pictures of a Arctic red fox up very close. Up very close and personal. This was a beautiful fox. Since the fox missed the rabbit, but did smell our breakfast cooking, it appeared to want to come in our trailer. With no treats being offered, the next few slides are of Van and Linda at Savage Campground. Here are a few pictures of the motorhome at Mount McKinley at Savage Campground. The next few slides are on our return to Anchorage, heading towards Briar State Park. We arrived at Briar State Park, and this is a loon on the lake, quite a ways away, that I was able to get a shot with my telephoto lens. It's not clear, but it is definitely a loon. The next few shots are of a spruce grouse. It is a male, and it has the blue coloring, and it was absolutely spectacular specimen of a grouse. First time I had ever seen a spruce grouse. I think you will enjoy these photos. These are more road shots taken on the way back to Anchorage. Here is the final slide of Linda with her hat on. Coming into Anchorage is like any other large city, so there's not much of interest to take photographs of. Thank you very much for enjoying these pictures with us. Have a good evening.